Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to do the toddler size of the Hexi Cardi. Now, the Hexi Cardi that I did, it's a little bit more of intermediate to advanced because of the way that there's not really any repeats per se. But for those of you that would like to do the same Hexi Cardi a little bit easier in an adult size, you can absolutely do that with this particular one. It is the same series of stitches, just it has an actual repeat that happens over and over again every couple of rows. So some of the things that you'll need is some yarn. For this project, I am using Mandala, and it is Sparkle. And it says that it's a 3 weight, a DK weight. Now, of course, if you're using a worsted weight, you're going to use the appropriate size hook, and it's going to work up a lot faster than in DK. It didn't take much to do the toddler size at all. I literally used 3 of the colors that's in here, and that's it. Now, you'll need 2 to have 2 matching ones if you use this yarn. If you're using whatever remnants you have, or you're using a solid color, you're going to have to, adjust it accordingly. But for this particular project, I am using Mandala Sparkle. I have lots of partials of it, so I was able to come up with 3 color scheme in a row to match. You'll also need some stitch markers, some different color stitch markers. I'll show why. You'll need 3 specifically different colors, 2 of each color. And then you'll need a separate one that is completely different from the others. And that way you can mark the end and beginning of your round. A darning needle and some scissors, and of course your hook and yarn. So for this, I'm using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And now to the stitch markers. If you have a hexagon and you are trying to match it up, sometimes you end up like this and you're like, well, wait a minute, and you're trying to figure out what corners meet. I've come up with a way to help that. So if you take and place 2 colors on opposite corners here, and you put those colors together, they're the same color. And then the next corner and the next corner out, you put the same colors and you match those up. And then your last 2 corners have the same color and match those up. Then it is the shape that you need for the cardigan. And you automatically know which corners go together simply by looking at the color of the stitch markers and pairing them up. So that is why I use the different color stitch markers the way that I do. Now you're just going to place them on the corners. I will show you that as we get going. Now, if you use a magic circle to begin your in the round, that's perfectly okay. You are welcome to do so. I use a chain 4 and slip stitch to my first chain. I also use what's called a mock double crochet, and I use that to be my first double crochet. I will show you how to do that in slow-mo and up close and personal when we get to our first double crochet. From that point out, I will just say mock double crochet or chain up, your preference. the chain up would be a chain of 2 or 3, whichever suits you best for your starting double crochet. All right, let's chain 1, 2, 3, and 4, and slip stitch to that very first stitch. And now we're joined in the round. I am going to be working over my tail. All right, let's zoom in and begin. This is my first double crochet of the round. I'm going to draw up a loop that is to the height of a double crochet. Place my finger on that loop. That is the top of our mock double crochet. You're going to want to hold that so that way it doesn't slip around the shaft of your hook, but it can slide to the end and back. Now you're going to take that hook and bring it towards you, down, under, and back up. Place the hook into the circle and yarn over and pull up a loop. That gives you the appearance of 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over and pull through those last 2. Now remember I said that that loop that you were holding was your very first double crochet, the top of it. You're going to insert your stitch marker to indicate the top of that stitch, and it'll be easy to find at the end of the round. Now we're going to place 2 more double crochets into this ring here. We're going to start off with what appears to be a granny stitch hexi. So now we have a total of 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 1 and 2. Now that will be a corner. We're going to do that again. 3 double crochets into that ring and chain 2. Now you're going to do this until you have a total of 6 groups of 3. We are now at 2 groups of 3. We're going to do another set together, and then I'll let you finish the remaining 3 groups. So there's my next 3 double crochets, and we're going to chain 2, so that will give us our next corner. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish the next 3, and then I will be back, and we will continue on to row 2. All right, once you've come to your last group of 3, your last chain 3, we're going to slip stitch to that very first stitch. All right, now we're going to place 1 double crochet into that stitch as well as each of the next 2 stitches. Now you can chain up or mock double crochet for your very first stitch. Into the same stitch you joined to. Replace your stitch marker and place 1 double crochet into each of the next 2. And now we're going to create our corner. Into the chain 2 space, we are going to place 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. And now we're on repeat. 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And then create your corner. Into the chain 2 space, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. You will continue that repeat all the way around, where at the end we will slip stitch to our very first stitch, and I'll meet back up with you for round 3. All right, now that we've reached the end, we're going to slip stitch to our very first stitch and place our stitch markers at this point. I'm going to pull up a loop just so that way it's out of the way. And also at this point, you should have a total of 2, 4, 6, 7 stitches between each of your chain 2 corners. So now I'm going to grab some stitch markers. And I'm going to grab 2 purple to start. And it doesn't matter which corner you start in. So we're going to go purple. The next corner will be a purple. Then our next 2 colors, I'll go with white. So purple, purple, white. You're going to skip 2 corners, and that puts you directly on the opposite side, and place your white on the other side. Then we have 2 corners left, the 2 that we skipped. And I'm going to go with black. Just place those into those corners. All right. So now you can see we had purple, the 2 white, and then the 2 black. So now every time you go to measure and see where you're at, all you have to do is fold it to where the colors meet the same color. All right, now let's go ahead and get started with our repeating patterns. The next 2 rows is the rows that you're going to repeat over and over. The only difference will be is you're going to be adding shells as you go. It's going to get wider. All right, so we need to be into the center stitch. So there's 7 stitches. We're going to count over 1, 2, 3. And in the 4th stitch, which means we slip over 1 stitch, that 4th stitch is our center stitch. So now we're going to place a shell, and the shells for this pattern on this size is 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. Now you can chain up if you wish. I will be doing a mock double crochet for the first double crochet, and we're working into that stitch we just slipped into. So there's our first one. Second double crochet, chain 1, 2, and 2 more double crochets, all in that same stitch. I'm going to replace my stitch marker into the top of my mock double crochet. And here we are. So your shell is in the center. All right. Now we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and double crochet into the next. Then we're going to work our corner, because now here we are at our corner. 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2 for your corner, and then 2 more double crochets, all in that chain 2 space. Now we need to place 1 double crochet in that very first stitch, then skip 1, 2, and place a shell into the next, which will be the center of those 7 stitches. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets in that same stitch. And now we repeat. Skip 2, double crochet into the next. Go into your chain 2 space and 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. And I just slip that stitch marker so that way it's in the middle. And then I move my stitch markers up as I go. 1 double crochet into the very first stitch, and then skip 2 and repeat shell. So go ahead and continue working around for round 3, and I'll meet back up with you and we'll do repeating round, which is round 4. All right, we've made it to the end. We are going to slip stitch to our first stitch, and then we're going to slip stitch over to the chain 2 space. So we're in the center of that shell. Now chain 1 and single crochet back into that stitch or that chain 2 space and replace your stitch marker. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and double crochet into the next. Chain 1, 2, skip 2, and now we're at the corner. We're going to place our corner, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into that corner. Chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, double crochet into the next, chain 1, 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and single crochet into your chain 3, and then you're on repeat. Chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and double crochet into the next. Chain 1, 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and now we're at the corner. 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space of your corner. All right. So it's 2 repeating rows. You're going to continue that all the way around. Once you have reached the end, I will meet back up with you and we will go over the repeats as they grow on a different panel that I've already started. All right, so when you come to the end of the round, you're going to slip stitch to your very first stitch, which was a single crochet. Now, as I said, this is a different panel that I've already started, but I want to show you how the increases are and continue to grow. So we're in the single crochet. We're going to mock double crochet or chain up, your choice. Replace your stitch marker. And now we're going to skip the chain 2 and into your next stitch, which is that double crochet. You're going to place a shell stitch. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, all into that same stitch. Skip your chain 2 and double crochet into the next stitch, which is a single crochet. Now you're going to skip your chain 2 and repeat. Here's another double crochet. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into that stitch. Now we're going to skip our chain 2 and place a double crochet into the next stitch. That brings us to 1 stitch left and our corner. You're simply going to go and skip the last stitch, go straight into the corner and place 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets to create your corner. and then skip the first stitch, double crochet into the next. Skip your chain 2 and place a shell into your next stitch. And this just repeats. Skip the chain 2, double crochet into the next. Skip the chain 2 and place a shell into the next. Then skip your chain 2 and double crochet into the next. You just keep repeating this same couple of stitches. Skip the chain 2 and shell into the next. Then skip the chain 2 and double crochet into the next. You'll notice that your double crochets are mainly going into the single crochets. Your shell stitches are mainly going into your double crochets, all from the row before. And then at the end, you're just going to skip your last chain 2 and double crochet into the next stitch, and then skip the last double crochet and work your corner. All right, I'm going to go ahead and continue working all the way around for this round. I'll meet back up with you, and I'll briefly go over how to work round 2 of your 2-round repeat. All right, so when you come to the end, you're going to slip stitch to your first stitch, like such. Now we are going to do a mock double crochet, or chain up, replace the stitch marker, chain 2, 1 and 2, and skip 2, 1, 2, and single crochet to your chain space. Chain 1, 2, skip 2, and double crochet into the next. Chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and single crochet into the next. That is the repeat. Over and over again until it is to the size you so desire. Again, this particular tutorial is intended for a toddler. Go ahead and continue working on this to the size that you want. Once I have the size that I need, the amount of rounds that I need for the toddler size, which I have done a total of 12 rounds. Once I have done the 12 rounds in this color, I will come back and we will seam them together. If you're pretty comfortable with seaming them together, you can most definitely do so on your own, however you wish. I am just going to slip stitch them together. But if you need help with that, you can meet back up with me here and we will do it together. All right, so now you have your 12 rounds and you're completely to the point where we're going to put this together. You have both of them. We're going to put this together and slip stitch it that way. So you're going to find your matching corners, your matching colors, and put them together. Here we are. And just kind of straighten everything out. This part is kind of based on you. So you can measure the back of your child's neck that you're making this for, and or all the way around, and find out how much space you need to leave here for this to go around their neck. So what I did was I left the corner and the first 2 chains. I just paired them up, and then I slip stitched all the way down the sleeve, just like such. And then I put a half double crochet cuff at the very end. And I'll go over both of these parts, as well as when you do the center here, you will do the same thing. You will seam it up the same way. So what I'm going to do is, since I already have this one done, I'm going to pull that out and pull this out. And as I said, I skipped the corner altogether, and the chain 2. So I'm going to, here's the corner and here's the chain 2. We started in this double crochet. I'm just going to go ahead and put that stitch marker there. And the same thing here. And I'm going to remove my corner stitch markers. And that is my stopping point at this present moment. I could have just moved these over, but I didn't. All right. So you can work from the end of the sleeve in, or right here and out. Up to you. It does not matter. You're just going to grab your yarn, create a slip knot, and we are going to attach to our hook. Okay. So where my stitch markers are here, I'm going to insert my hook into both of those and pull through and through. Then I'm going to chain 1 just to make sure that that stays nice and tight there. That's like your slip stitch. Now I can go ahead and remove these stitch markers. I just did that so that way when I stepped away, I would be able to look at it and know exactly where I was putting the very first stitch. Now, in every chain, you're going to slip stitch them together. So the first chain from the front side and the first chain from the back side. And pull through, and slip. Now, when you're doing this, make sure your slip stitch is slightly loose. You don't want it to be too tight, or it's going to pull this together, and you don't want the top of the sleeve to be all pulled up tight like that. So all I'm doing is going into every single stitch, including the chain stitches, and yarning over and slip stitch. But I'm going through both sides, the front and the back, yarning over, pull through, and through. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and work to the end of this panel. Now you will do both tops of your sleeves, and you will also do the, let's see, let me show you how to do that. You will also do either this side or turn it all the way over and do it on the other side. When you slip them together, the idea is that you want this ridge, this slip stitch ridge, on the inside of the work. So when you turn it right side out, all of that slip stitching is on the inside, including the back. So I'm going to turn this back around, and I will work either from the top down or the bottom up. It don't matter, just as long as it is on the outside, not on the inside here. All right, I'm going to leave you to sew up the tops of both sleeves and the back, and then I'll come back and just briefly go over how to do your half double crochet ridge where my stitch placement is. And that will finish up this tutorial. I'll be back in a bit. We're just here to do a quick decrease, and we are going to decrease this down in size fast. So what we need to do is come to your join here and insert your hook into that join, place a slip knot on your hook, and pull it through. Now, I am going to chain 1 here. This is up to you. You can make this a half double crochet round as well. I started this one as a double crochet. I may rip it back and make it half double. I don't know. Probably just for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to move right on. And yeah. So if you would like to do a half double crochet in each of the stitches instead of the double crochet that I'm going to be doing, please do so, because every round after this initial round, I will be doing a half double crochet. So that is up to you how you wish to start. Now I am going to do a mock double crochet into this same stitch that I placed the slip knot in. And I'm going to go ahead and put a stitch marker on the top of that mock double crochet. And now what we're going to do is we're skipping all the chains. We're going to place 1 double crochet in every double crochet stitch and every single crochet stitch. Just skip the chain. So we're going to skip over the chain 2, and into each of the next 2 stitches, we're going to place a double crochet. We're going to skip the next chain 2 and place a double crochet into the next stitch. Skip the next chain 2 and a double crochet into the next stitch. And you're going to work this all the way around, just skipping the chain 2s. Everything else gets a stitch. Turn this over. So this is going to decrease it quite a bit right away. There we go. Now, if you wanted to do this in single crochet, you're fine with doing that as well. You can do your sleeve however you so choose. I am just showing you how I am doing it. Go. Couple more jumps here to finish off. Now, when you get to the end, you can slip stitch to the top of your first stitch, whether it was a chain up or a mock double crochet. All right, for round 2, you're going to want to make sure that you have a front post, back post, and you do that all the way around, and your last stitch should be a back post. Now we're going to do this in half double crochet. So chain 1, yarn over, go behind the post, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, go through all 3. So that's our first half double crochet. And I'm going to replace my stitch marker into the top of that stitch. Then I'm just going to do a back post double crochet and a front post double crochet. I'm going to work this all the way around. And again, however many rounds you want to do the front post, back post, that's entirely up to you. For this particular one and sleeve, I did 1, 2, 3 rounds of front post, back post. But you will continue to do front post, back post all the way around. Once you're done with that, you can turn it right side out and add a little extra to it if you want. Completely and entirely up to you how much more you want to do to this toddler size cardigan. All right, everyone. So I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you make this. And if you make this, I would love to see it. You can share it in the Facebook group. You can send a picture to me on my private email. All of the information is down in the description box below the video. Just click the little see more, and it will drop down and show you all the ways that you can contact me, as well as support the channel, or any extra information that I may need to add to this will be found in that description box. All right, everyone, be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.